guys, Midnight Range TM here. Thanks for visiting the channel. Came home today and decided to just do a little once over on some of the guns and I figured I'd do a little video. This is a gun I've talked about a lot. You might have seen it on the channel if you've watched the channel for a little while. And it's a pretty cool piece. It was bought back in the 60s by my grandfather at a yard sale. In PA, you don't need a transfer long guns. You can do them person to person. And that's what he did. He was at a yard sale and he bought a couple of 22s and this for, oh gee, like 25 bucks or something. So basically this is a G9840. And information on this, a really good site to look if you're interested. If you would have a gun like this and you don't know anything about it, is www.hungary.com. HUNGARIAE.com. It's got a little bit of history on it. It's very small. It's a very simple site, but it's got some really good pictures and a lot of good information. So up until the 1940s, the Hungarians were using a Mannlicher rifle, which is a style of rifle, just like Mauser is a style of rifle, called the 35M. It was chambered in 9x56R, so it was a rimmed cartridge. 5 rounds, end block, straight bolt handle. Had a straight bolt like a Mauser does or something like that. When the Hungarians were taken over by the Germans, they decided to take that rifle, the 35M, called a 35M or a 35 Pushka, which is Hungarian for rifle, and they really liked it. They thought it was a great piece, but they wanted it to shoot the 8mm Mauser. So they took that rifle and they developed two different rifles. One was a 43M, and that was used by the Hungarians, and a G9840, which was used by the Germans. As far as the G9840 goes, only under 139,000 were made, under that. So about 138.5 or something, between 41 and 44. So it's pretty rare, which is really neat. They changed the 35M, and the 43M and the G9840 were very similar. They had a couple of differences, the way the slings mounted and stuff like that, but they had quite a few interchangeable parts. They weren't exactly the same. The stocks were a little bit different. The attachment points were a little different, like I said. So they made it available. They gave you the ability to use Mauser stripper clips. It just changed to 7.92 by 57, which is 8mm Mauser. They bent the bolt handle, which is really nice. If you've ever used a straight bolt versus a bent bolt, the bent bolt's really nice. And you could use a K98 bayonet on it. And I'm just going to talk about the rifle a little bit, show you a little bit about it. And unfortunately, it has been sporterized. You know, the original stock would have come, clear out to here. There was a separate two pieces that clamped here, and there's a barrel band that's missing here. And I have never been able to find another stock. I found Reproduction in somebody that was making reproductions in Germany, but in the United States, I've never found anything. Usually you find rifles that are, sometimes they're in better condition than this, sometimes they're in worse. Mechanically, this one's great. Cosmetically, it's sporterized, so it's kind of a bummer. I also found a guy online that made Reproduction sight hoods. Very simple, just sort of loop. Use a little wrench to pop it on there. So the sight is a pointed front sight, and the sight hood protects it. So these are like one of the first things to go in military rifles. Some guys took them off, sometimes they get lost. They're not exactly durable. There's also plugs for the front of the muzzle, little rubber stoppers almost, or little rubber plugs, caps basically that go over top. You'll see those sometimes on websites that you can buy old ones. A lot of times now they're kind of hard, but it's pretty cool. It keeps debris from going down the muzzle. It's pretty neat. So, like I said, the serial number stock matches the barrel. The Germans are crazy about serial numbers too. So a lot of times you will see the stock is serialized. Okay. Stock is serialized. There's also, it's really hard to see, but there is a stamp in the stock here. I don't know if you can see it. It's really hard to see. It's starting to fade right there where my finger is. There's a small stamp there, which is supposed to be there. The mag well, I guess you would call it, matches. The floor plate does not match in this rifle, and the bolt does not match. The underneath the sight matches, and the barrel bands are, I believe the barrel bands are numbered 2. I think the front one is supposed to be, and this one matches underneath. It's hard to see, but there's actually a stamp behind the sling there, which is cool. The sling is a reproduction. It's the same style sling that you would see on like a K98-ish or a K98 a rifle. It goes through the stock. And it's actually really neat because when you cinch it down and get it nice and tight, it lays against the rifle really kind of nice. It's pretty cool. I actually, visually, aesthetically, I think it's a really cool look to have that sling going up along the stock like that. I think it's really sharp. It's a multi-piece bolt, and it is really, really smooth. I'm really lucky. This bolt's in great shape. The spring has really got a lot of life left in it. When you flip it up, it jumps back. You know, it's awesome. So, you know, you bring that up, and it just, I mean, what more, you know, what could you want better than that, right? You know, when you cock it, cock's on closed. Safety on, safety off, okay? And you can also, this is something that was added for the G98-42. It's a thumb piece. So if you want to decock it, it gives you something to ride the bolt down on, which is really nice. If you want to take the bolt out, you depress this little spring-loaded bolt release. After it comes back, and your bolt comes out. Okay. Sights are graduated out to 2,000 meters. That was changed from the original 43 M2 because ballistically the 2 rounds were different. 8mm Mauser was well, I love the 8mm Mauser. I started reloading for this rifle when I got it because ammo is pretty expensive. It can be if you're not using surplus. So I reloaded for it. It's very accurate, and it shoots great. It's comfortable to shoot even though it's got a metal butt plate. The stock is a 2-piece stock. Well, 3-piece stock really if you count the front, but there is a band here, and there's a screw that comes down through the stock, and this will actually come off. You can push this front and pop the base plate off, and the mag spring comes out. Really simple. The internals of this are in great shape. There's a really pretty patina on everything. If you can see, it's got that nice, like, sort of chocolate brown sort of patina on a lot of the parts. The internal parts are great. The rifling is great. And you can see some of the stamps here. Hopefully we'll see if we can see some of the stamps. There's the JHV. There, right here is a 7.9. That means 7.9. The 8mm Mauser is designated in lots of different ways. There's tons of different ways to designate 8mm Mauser. That's one of them, 7.9. This is a 43 production. And on the side, see if I can get it here. Okay. G98-40. Serial number. With the eagle and the swastika. Underneath the serial number, what looks like an N, that's actually an I. You can see that. It's hard to see. That's actually an I. I had a hard time with that because I kept looking for the wrong numbers. I believe it's an I. If I remember correctly, I believe it's an I. And there's another eagle and swastika. So, really neat rifle. Really cool piece of history. And, you know, as I get older and I appreciate not just the firearms, but the history of the firearms and also significance of firearms in general and what they represent. They represent safety. They represent independence. And a rifle like this is a really, really good example of that. The only reason that this particular rifle exists is because another country was not able to defend itself against a stronger country, right? Nazi Germany decided to start taking over things to push their agenda, and Hungary could not, you know, defend itself. Sad but true. So, you know, as I get a little bit older and I start thinking about the things that are happening in the country, not only our right, but our ability to defend ourselves is very important. So, you know, I got this nice and, you know, all cleaned up, good to go. I'm going to give it a good oil, put it back in the safe, hopefully get out and shoot it soon. So, this has been really nice. I enjoyed showing this to you guys. I've been telling my buddy Cycle Camp that I'm going to do a video on this, and I just didn't do it. So, thought tonight was a great night to do it. You know, this is really cool. It's kind of a family heirloom now. You know, little something that my grandpa had bought back in the day, you know, loved very dearly. So, if you have any questions, give me a ring. Or send should say put a comment underneath the video. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to talk about it. It's a really cool rifle. We can talk about it on the show if you'd like, if anybody has any interest in doing that. Sunday nights, 10:30 Eastern, the closer. You can check out videos on YouTube, Gunstreamer, GunTube, and gunchannels.com. So come and check us out, gunchannels.com. It's a fantastic site for Pro 2A, like-minded people to come, talk, interact, and just have a good time all together. So, all right, I'm going to call it a night, put this guy back in the safe. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye.